Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jatin Luthra from GACS Association. I welcome you all in today's webinar on Back to Work. Uh, Now, before we start, we quickly like to read out a few guidelines. First of all, we have kept all the participants on mute. Uh, so for all the inputs and any questions that you would like to ask and share, please drop it in the chat box, and which will be picked up by Colonel Ashok Prabhakar. We also request all the participants to keep their videos on a switch off mode. This is to avoid any kind of latency. In case the session get interrupted or get disconnected, we would request you to join back again on the same link. That's all from my end. I would request Mr. Gautam Verma to please take it further.
Thank you, Jatin. Thank you so much. Before we all start, I would like to introduce our eminent speaker, Mr. Maninder Singh Grewal, who is with us today. Mr. Grewal is a graduate from IIT Kharagpur and has more than 35 years of experience in the information technology sector. He has wide exposure to IT infra and IT application space in almost all vertical, including, but which is not limited to financial services, healthcare, and aviation. Some of his assignments include computerization of major stock exchanges, stockbroking houses, financial service organizations, large healthcare services organizations, hospitals, airport, and airlines. He was the co-chair of the Noida Regional Council for NASSCOM and is a core committee member of NASSCOM annual Tech Conference, which is a widely popular series. He is the managing director of iPrime Services Private Limited, running a successful IT for over 30 years, and is the authorized partner of Greywall Software for Asia and Middle East. He and his team has devised a tool which will help us and our employees to overcome the challenges while returning to work. I will not take much time, and I will request everyone to join me in welcoming Mr. Grewal. Over to you, Grewal, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot. I mean, the anyway.
Over to you, sir.
So I think that's it. So I think whether one likes it or not, this is exactly what the problem that you're going to be faced with. Okay, because we want 25% of our workforce going back to back working from home, and this is going to happen. But anyway, this is a global team. We have a team of about 100 people today, and we started as Greywall Software in New Haven in Connecticut. And the background was that we worked with GE with General Electric for one of their biggest internal collaboration software programs. It was called Support Central, and if somebody has been in GE, somebody would know completely about it. And the object was, how do we collaborate among 100,000 plus employees at that point of time, and how do we share documents, how do we share, time schedules and all of that, and it grew. So that's what we had, over 300,000 global users for GE, which was at that point a Fortune 15 company. And in 2011, we branched out and set up things on our own. So some of the things that we bring to you, bring to the community are basically, we have an idea of what it is to run large programs. Okay, to run something at enterprise scale. Now you can have a program like, for example, I'll tell you, the minute some website opens up and a particular Delhi website opened up, the day they opened the liquor stores and everything crashed. So that cannot happen to us, because we've understood what load means and how these things have to be managed. And at that point of time, we have 3 or 4 different things that we sort of put in from day one. One was that we did not want people to have infrastructure in their own different data centers, because the very idea of of using a platform for emergency and crisis management is that the first point of failure may just be your own data center. So my question has been that, is this software, which you're building for resiliency, available even in spite of all those failures? And the answer is yes, because it's completely on cloud. It's on AWS. It is hosted in the US. We have an instance in Ireland, and we are planning to have an instance in Mumbai because of data localization rules. The other thing that we have done is, it is completely mobile. So except for some core admin functions, everything that you see can be done on a mobile. The third thing we did was, we are now in the age of GPS. So everything here is GPS enabled. So even if you log in and you so desire, the company law says, company rule says that you have to put on a location, I can track your login by date, by time, as well as by geolocation, right? And then the fourth thing that we have is obviously with running such large programs, we have to have a great emphasis on security. I mean, because there'll be a lot of secure data which is going into the system. And I'm happy to tell you that we are completely GDPR compliant, and we serve our European clients out of our instance in Ireland for their localization issues. Now, we have been here, and I've been working for a very long time, as somebody said, and one of these days we'll share great experiences. But we set up this office in India in 2016 with one employee. We are now about 40 employees, and including support from Ludhiana, we are about 60 people. And we support global clients from here. I mean, we'll come to a client list, and we'll show you what we support. So we have large members of NASSCOM, and like Gautam said, I started the tech conference along with my colleagues Vineet and Damneesh, and simply because we felt that India as a destination was being branded as a BPO destination, and the BPO space was being taken over by the Philippines and by the Mexico and other low cost, and were we using our Indian intellect, which I believe is far better than most other countries, and our ability to juggle numbers, were we using it properly? And that's how we started the conference, to show to people that the best of technology can actually come from India, not just the BPO. Of course, it did help us that the billing rates are much higher for technology rather than for BPO. Next slide, please. So that's how we set it up. So what did we think it should be? Like when you look back at it, a crisis or an emergency is where you completely get tested, right? Where you have to say that your business has to keep continuing. I mean, you have to go down to the finer details of understanding how you are enabling multiple teams to go on work when there's a crisis. I can tell you a personal example. We are working for a large multinational. Again, this was a Fortune 100 company, and they had a ransomware attack which really crippled their single sign-ons and their entire LDAP, and they were not able to communicate for 3 days. Eventually, the loss to them was estimated at $160 million. So that's the extent of it. So the question has been that if that is the sort of exposure that companies can have, and ransomware is a very big problem, how do you tackle with them? And that's where we are, that you have multiple dispersed teams, times are critical, and the consequences are terrible. You cannot afford today applications being down. I mean, I'm not just talking about the internet space. I'm not talking about Ola. I'm not talking about Flipkart. I'm just talking about everyday organizations like yours. Like you have distributed organization. I mean, Dell has a system which all across the world. Samsung, Barclays, Citibank, every one of us is dealing with these companies all across. So that's where it is. Next question is, when do we need it? You know, I mean, we have a lot of SOPs, and they are available to us in textbooks, in PDF forms, and when we need them, we search. And let me give you an example. One of the crashes of the 737s, which happened in Ethiopia, in the last 5 minutes, the co-pilot was desperately only trying to find the instruction for actually deactivating the system that was causing the crash. It just was not available to him right there when he needed it. So the question is that if you have a scenario where there is a problem, do you start searching for PDFs? Do you start searching for telephone numbers? Or is it that you just press a button and boom, everything goes out? And of course, the challenges are here that if like, for example, I mean, in the customer that I was talking to you in ransomware, I mean, his entire email system, his entire Microsoft Yammer, I mean, it got disabled. How do you talk to people? How do you communicate? And a crisis communication is key. So as Mahua will show you later, there's a lot of stuff that we have built in for it. Mahua, next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, so I won't take much time here. Is drag and drop and all of this. This is possibly something that will be taken up by Mahua. Just trying to emphasize that it's a one-click launch, which means that if you have a crisis and you want to launch an SOP, no matter where you are, if you're the person authorized to you, it's a single button and the entire stack of your plan gets rolled out. Next slide, please. Yeah, Mo, you can go on to the next slide. This is fine. Next one. Let's get to the customer slide, please. So this is a very small one. I've already said about it. We have all these processes. We're dealing with large companies. Can we go to the next slide, please? These are the real world solutions. I'm just sort of trying to make up for some time because I'm looking at the watch and it's like 20 minutes gone already. So this is what we do. I think this everything here is there. We are an application platform. So it means that with our tools, as we will show later on, you can build many solutions and it's all on one platform. And the advantages, prime advantages of the fact that you have data in one place. So you may have a billing system and you have an HR system. The data is never together. So you may have a leasing system, you may have leases together and you have an SAP system. And how do you sort of map the SAP system with your lease system? So here in our system, everything is together. And that's how we are able to provide a lot of these things that you see on the screen. I'll come to our customer slide. Just a slide on customers, please. Yes. So if you see our list of customers, we cover all. Mo, can you go back to the first slide, please? I'm sorry. Yeah. So we cover aviation. We have very large, I mean, one of the largest aviation clients we have is United Airlines. And United Airlines is really huge, as you know. And they do emergency management and crisis management on our platforms. I will give you other examples like San Francisco International, the airport, Dallas Fort Worth, the airport. So this is a very big sector for us. And we are pretty strong there. In finance and enterprises, I mean, I'll give you just one example of Capital Bank, which is the largest issuer of credit cards in the US. They are one of our customers. I mean, in the government, I'll give you another small example, which is currently also being used. The Centers for Disease Control uses our system to map Nipah virus. I mean, of course, they are now mapping COVID, but that's across the system. I mean, so these are all various healthcare. I mean, the higher education, we have MIT as a customer. We have Yale University, we have Princeton. We have CSU, which is California State Universities, 23 of them, and utilities. We can show you more details on the next slide. Yes, so here we are. So I'll just take you through just a couple before I hand you over to Moa. I mean, let me talk to you about just our brand new client. The newest client we have is the city of Los Angeles. And if you're aware, I mean, it's a central city, and I mean, it's in a mess because of COVID, but the entire emergency management and crisis management in the city of Los Angeles will go onto our platforms in about 3 to 4 weeks. Now, I am not talking months away here because that's one of our great achievements that we do is that we have a very rapid deployment and we do it very quickly. So it's not as if you place an order, then you wait for 6 months. I've talked about United. I've talked about, let me talk about NetJets. NetJets is a Berkshire Hathaway company. It's got about 700 private planes which they rent out, and that's a Berkshire Hathaway company, so that's really very big. I mean, I haven't shown you HDFC because that's not something that I can show, but HDFC has been using us for coordinating their disaster recoveries. I mean, you have multiple systems, you have ATM systems, you have net banking systems, you have core banking, you have Swift gateways, you have all of that, and how do you coordinate a DR? I mean, and when you go to the DR, you come back to 1,800 branches participate, 18,000 branches participating. And like it happened to me, I mean, when they do the drill, they do it completely on gensets. And the drill takes 6 hours, or do you have enough diesel in your gensets to run for 6 hours? Or do you rent more gensets? So all these issues come in, and these are large customers that we have. We started from zero. This is where we are today. And we are signing rapidly new clients. So, can we go to the next slide, please? So I just come back now to the point of what we are saying here, how we are going to address this. And the next slide, please. So this is McKinsey. So this is a McKinsey study. So I think what is the critical thing today? I mean, I had a call earlier on today with members of the US Embassy and members of Boeing and Lockheed Martin and everybody. And they were asking us, what is your main concern? I mean, where are we concerned? So I said, the concern is that it's safety. It's just that. I mean, I'm not really concerned today about whether I can produce as much. I'm not even concerned about whether I can deliver. My main concern is, am I safe and are my customers safe? The products that you give your customers, are they safe? Which means we have as we emerge from the lockdown, clients will be completely vigilant about health. I mean, you must have heard of the case of the pizza delivery in Malviya Nagar, which shut down the whole locality. I mean, we cannot afford those things today. So customers and employees will look to you to ensure that safety is followed, and World Health Organization and local guidelines are followed. So these are the two ones. I think that's the key message that we are about to give. And you have to restart slowly. I mean, it's not as if it's a big bang approach. I mean, the government is following that. It's just started some flights, some airports, and that it's finding a way. And I think yesterday was chaos and people were cursing it. But you know, at the end of the day, 32,000 people flew. So I think one has to look at the positive side rather than the negative side. Next slide, please. So the biggest buzzword today is work from home. You know, so we've been working from home across our 100 people across these 3 months. And what is it that we are missing out, and what is it that we are gaining? Of course, I love not having to travel to Noida, which is a 1.5-hour commute for me every day and back. And that's great. But what I really miss is that, you know, you can talk to people. I mean, today I'm talking to you, but if I were in a hall and giving this speech, I would be able to make eye contact with everybody, you know, and able to understand much more. I mean, they're saying that, you know, you can have IPL in an empty stadium, but if you've been to a stadium, that atmosphere that is created in the stadium cannot be replicated if you work from home. This is what Satya Nadella says. And one of our very strong architects in Sydney says, and the one in red, he says, yes, we want to earn money. We want to do all these things, but we enjoy talking to people. We are humans. So I think this work from home is great, but it has to be taken with a pinch of salt. Next slide, please. Now, this is where we come into where this community has to come in. I mean, I have the greatest respect for you, and this is where we're going to go, because I think the admin workload has doubled. I mean, if not tripled, because while we are having these changes in the traditional workplace, we now have a different workplace. It's home. Okay, so like I had a problem here, how do you ensure if work from home is, as everybody's saying, is going to be a long-term plan? And you know, TCS said 75%, HDFC is working very hard on a plan that puts at least 25% of its employees into work from home. But it's some of the things are obvious. I mean, if you're looking at the traditional workplace, yes, health checks, premises, isolation. I mean, are you going to have isolation beds in office? I don't know. Maybe you will. PPE provisioning. Okay, and then the subtle ones. I think the question is, the biggest thing today is that, I mean, if your friend has been living in Ghaziabad or in Noida or in another state, are you comfortable having him come over? I mean, the answer to that is very mixed. And generally the answer is, if you have older people in your house, you're not. So these things have to be, I mean, it's okay for me to go to office, but when I come back, is my wife happy with that? So you're not just managing me, you have to do a lot of things. I mean, there'll be a lot of communications. We'll go to people's families, people living with elder parents, in trying to assure them that, you know, the workplace is safe and the products that you make are safe. And if you're looking at a manufacturing unit, I mean, how do we manage all this for blue collar workers? Right, I had an air conditioning that was bad, and I had a mechanic electrician come to see it, and my wife locks herself in a room and says, okay, why don't you handle it? These things will happen, and there are many questions. And if you look at the office from home, I mean, it's fine. Maybe Delhi has got more space, but if you look at Bombay, I mean, the 650 feet apartment is not the best place to work from home. So how are you going to manage that? I mean, are we going to create a special space over there where for particular meetings, and that space, why should the employee pay for it? So there are multiple questions. And then the biggest question that you have is, how about productivity? How do you measure productivity of teams across a distributed workplace? So I think there are many questions. And finally, the other thing, I mean, if you want an employee to work from home, is it going to be part of his contract? And if it is part of his contract, what are your liabilities? So I think there are lots of things here, and this great fraternity that you put together, Ashok and, you know, and Samir and Rajesh and everybody. I think frankly speaking, I think that's what I think, that before it's me, the technical people come in. I mean, you're the ones who have to keep the whole thing running, and you're the ones actually, I mean, you are our COVID warriors today, Ashok. If we want business to come back, then please, my hat's off to you. You are our COVID warriors. Next slide. I think we are now taking on to, yeah. So any questions up till now, please? Yeah, Gautam, Jatin, any questions? Hello?
Checking on the, yeah, we have a few questions. Let me just pull the chat box. Not on the chat box, but I believe we have one raised hand. So maybe 1 second. Yeah, Mr. Mahinder Singh Chauhan, would you like to ask? No, I don't think we have anything. So maybe
Okay,
Mr. Grewal, we can move to the next section.
Perfect. Handing it over to Maua, and I'm going on mute. Okay.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, sir. I think you have said the ball rolling, and I can jump onto the different COVID. Now I will talk about two sections. One is VOC solutions to tackle COVID-19 related different SOPs and standalone processes. And the second section is about the back to work, which is our main agenda today. And once I'm over, I will pass the host to Sirish, who will talk about the building blocks of VOC and how we do it within VOC, and a couple of real life experiences we will see there. So I'll just do a time check right now. It's already 4 o'clock. So, okay. So COVID-19 solution, once we got in up and running within VOC, like around 5 to 6 weeks back, we are already having 400 configuration in US for different, the verticals which sir has already said, hospitals, aviations, governments, energy utilities, and financial institutions. So they are on it. And so 400 configuration we have already done. So major configurations are in these areas: employee, staff, and people management, case tracking and community support, resource management, expense tracking, reimbursement, communication, and awareness. So I'll just quickly go over what are the different solutions we have under each one of them. Very self-explanatory slide, so I will not read much. You can continue reading it, yeah. So office clinic branch status update. So this is, we need to understand these solutions are basically to facilitate if a certain organization is still functioning within the COVID-19 restrictions, as well as I mean functioning to a restricted way, or having employees working in within the office or outside of it, and how to enable them to work. So that is the main way of these solutions. So office clinic branch status update, as sir has already said. Okay, there are a couple of questions, so we'll take this later, I think. Yeah, so we can really geofence them through our mapping technologies, which Shirish will show you also. So childcare reservation for essential workers, which is, I mean, in a couple of the countries, these are very much regulated. I mean, for the government and the other agencies to do it. So to enable them, we have these solutions. Then labor pool request staff availability of staff during shifts, different for emergency as well as non-emergency systems. Self-reporting form, self-reporting for anything in terms of health and hygiene related alerts, as well as travel. Travel reporting itself is self, as well as whatever has been already there, maybe inside your ERP systems or any other systems where you are logging in. So you can put that data in VOC, or you can integrate that data from VOC to see a dashboard Work from home logging. So as sir was saying, work from is here to stay for a little while, or maybe for a longer term. So how to log your work from home details, and how you can measure effectively the productivity at the end of the day or a particular period. And staff hoteling, where people need to go on duties, I mean official duties, to different places, and how you are making sure they are getting those arrangements. So next we have case tracking and community support. This is also very unique one, and it's been used in US for many of our current as well as existing as well as new customers. So confirm case tracking, this is definitely is required even in Indian context also, which also include not only this, the contact tracing part of it, which we have added in our solution. COVID-19 call inquiry log, there are different, from different sources, this information is coming, so putting them all together at one place. Plasma donation, wherever it is happening in healthcare institutes. Isolation, quarantine, and isolation, quarantine, lodging requests. So we all know there are different states and countrywide different regulations on what will be the quarantine or isolation time period, as well as the mode of it, so that those kind of requests can be managed. Volunteer management, there are people who are doing volunteering work into different places, so request for doing volunteering work as well as managing their well-being and all, so that can be done. City comparative view analysis, if you want to really compare between two different cities and take a call on your employees, where to put the employees in and which offices to open and all. So here I just there is a red colored one, track and map data from nearby a similar size town. So this is a direct outcome of our GIS enablement on this. So we have resource management. So this resource is not only human resource, we are talking about all kind of resource. So donation management, your equipment availability survey, what are the equipment you need for your screening and sanitization, disinfection work within the campuses. And then PPE and identifying inventory, you need all this in PPE. Vendor bid, you might be having different vendors to come in, how to ensure that the quality and quantity register is all okay. Then you have resource request management, which is specifically from different parts of your organization. There may be different resource requests which is coming in, and whom to do the provisioning, and how to prioritize this provisioning. You can do that. Supply assessment, again, it's more or less, I would say, it's a part of your whole supply chain. You can just only for the COVID purposes you can use it here, and it's very seamless and very easily configurable to your environment. So daily sensors and testing updates, wherever the testings are being done, how the testing has happened, and by individual, by group, or by organization levels, where you have the close proximity of people into that, so as well as the contact tracing one. So those kind of details you can fetch. Then expense tracking, reimbursement, again, I think most of the organization do it as part of their HR and payroll processes and time tracking processes. But still, if somebody is trying to do this on a standalone basis, or they need major changes on their SOPs and in their current systems is not able to do it very quickly, then we can definitely put up all these forms very easily, and you can use that. And once it is used, then you can export this data to your other systems whenever required. Which is very important at this point of time is communication and awareness. So official communication from one place to many, broadcasting communication as well as two-way communication, whatever is required. So we can do it within the system itself. Daily executive summary, you can have a predefined template where the CTO, CEO, CIO, they get to see what is the status of today from different sources, and it can be either email to them, or they can just see that coming back to their system, they can just see their own summary, what they want to do. They can have their own saved reports which can come to them maybe 2 or 4 hourly times also, whatever is required, we can configure that. Then we have the meeting tracker, different decisions, maybe informed decisions are being taken depending on the data. So but some of these meetings might be on these platforms like Zoom, Meet and all. Some of these can be also on-site meetings. So we can have these meeting trackers where all these decisions are being taken, so that at the time of any kind of audit, you have your data, relatable data being there. Outbound communication log. So yeah, as inbound and outbound both is required. So outbound communication log is also very important because there are certain guidelines and rules according to these, I mean, if I talk about India, we have district level as well as state level rules and all, where you have to provide them the report. So those things you can keep it once, and if there are certain changes there, making those changes in the report formats or data collection format, it should not be too much of an issue for us. Having said that, those were some of the solutions which we built earlier on to help people go over this initial couple of weeks or maybe 2 months, 3 months. So now is the time when people are coming back to the workplace gradually all over the world. And as I just say, it's back to workplace at your own pace, and nobody is can dictate that this is the best practice and this is how you can do this, or you should do this, because this is definitely at the organization level maturity which will dictate on that. So I'll just take a quick note from NASSCOM. We got to have this NASSCOM directory for SOPs for the directory of companies which are under NASSCOM, and there are 3 different scenarios NASSCOM is telling us to look at it. One is an employee returning from abroad, business or personal travel, whatever it is. So you have to tackle that scenario. Scenario 2 is an employee found to be having symptoms, fever, cough, shortage of breath at workplace. So this employee is already in the workplace and having this kind of symptoms. And scenario 3 is an employee tested positive for COVID-19 virus within the same building, IT park, near proximity. So you have a positively tested person. The second one is may or may not having a positive report, but third one is definitely. So these 3 cases we need to definitely look at quickly. They have the standard SOPs, and I think all of you will also come back to your own SOP to look into it. Like if somebody has influenza-like symptoms, what are the things you need to take care of, and how you will let that person know to be isolated himself within the home or wherever it is possible, and what kind of test you will suggest depending on the area where the person is and what kind of contact tracing he has been through. So this is the testing strategy which we definitely can put in your systems to understand that you are doing it on the right way, or maybe the best way possible at your end. This is again when an employee workplace tests positive. So there is a lot of things will be involved here. Not only your the employees themselves, there will be facility needs to be designed, I mean sanitized and disinfected, and all these other procedures which needs to be maintained, that is there. And all these things again, all the checks, all the checklist which are part of these are already available there, and you can use them for your current processes. This is one which is very interesting, which I got from social media. So earlier it was not that complicated, I would say. So here we have preparing for work. There are some things using public transportation, something when in public you have to do something, office entrance, how you are doing this, while at the workplace, what are the things you are doing before leaving work and when you arrive home. So this is what our life would be, at least for a couple of months, year, maybe a couple of years also. So looking into that, we have a standard business continuity solution in VOC, which has been there for so many years now, and a lot of our customers across different industries, they're using this kind of thing, the standard business continuity process. Some of our current customers as well as prospects who are already on ISO 22301 for business continuity management processes, as well as trying to maintain ISO 22301 type of processes. They are using VOC for that, and we are very happy with the outcome which is we are getting. So over on top of this, the standard business continuity process, what we have done, we have put together A to Z of back to workplace solutions. Some of these solutions already existed, and some of the solutions we are just making it align with the current process which you have. The blue ones here are actually different USPs for VOC, like geofencing. You can put a geofencing over a selected area to understand what is happening in that area, and the drills and plans. Maybe before you start your 100 people or 1,000 people coming into office, you might just want to start with 20 people coming in and see the effectiveness of all your checklist and everything. So that can be termed as a drill and plan here. Drill may not be always fire drill. So you can put them as drills, and you can put your plan launch, which Shirish will quickly show you there. So these are something where I would today I'll talk a bit about the training management which you can do on workplace safety and zero contact delivery management. So training management overall, as you know, on the workplace safety, we'll be having safety training.
Yeah, come in for a minute. Can you go back to the slide, please? Maninder here. Sorry, but folks, what I'm trying to say, you just taking you a little bit back to where I came from when I said that it's a platform, and when I look at it as an IT person, I look at data in one place. So I mean, it's like the geofencing data is in the same place as the access control data, right? So if I want to geofence something and not allow access control, then I can combine these two things. So I think the medical influence simply down here. So the question is, the linkages between a medical emergency in a containment zone will be treated very differently than a medical emergency in a red zone, right? But then I need to know the geofencing before I go there, and that's what we will show you. So the advantage of having data in one place is today very high, because you can combine data from various of these applications. They are all in one place. And then at the end of the day, if you want to run any analytic program on it, or any sort of, you run a drill and then you begin to see where we went wrong, then that is all possible. So that's a great advantage of this. And all of these can actually be built on a single platform. Instead of having multiple applications and multiple vendors and applications that don't talk to each other, and you have multiple logins, so all of that happens. Thanks, Bhava.
Okay, so workplace safety, I think definitely you guys are all more knowledgeable than me on this end. So generally, these are the different aspects of workplace safety you do. So as a solution, what we do is prepare, inform, prevent, and recover. This is the cycle which we manage, where we continuously integrate all of these aspects, and all the data centrally located. You can have your decision making based on whether you need to improve your preparation, or you need to improve your modes of information collection as well as dissemination, or you have to improve your preventive strategies, or how quickly you can recover. So on the preparation side, we have training needs identification, normal training related stuff. Now basically we have different modes of training, so online and on-site, both what kind of training is happening. Then you can have basic and advanced curriculum, like for your general employees as well as your facility IT employees, who will be the frontline workers, I would say here. Then you have your training materials which needs to get updated from time to time, so you can do those versioning as well. And your training materials can be in a tiered access to different employees, and also can go through different phases of workflow approvals workflow. You can even have your quizzes or tests to understand, so that people know how to react on different situations, and people know what to do in terms of what are the do's and don'ts of this. Then information, as I said earlier, communication and awareness is very important. So publish your training calendar so that everybody knows when is happening, and different modes of communication channels in terms of SMS and email, push notifications from the system. Design and approval of poster, signage, marking, even these are also very, very important in terms of facility. Nobody can deny that at this point of time, so that people again and again understand that these are the new normal, and they have to do all of these things. Plan and unplanned training management. Some trainings might not have been planned, but once it is done, you can just put that as a planned course curriculum as well. You can put that. Then you can put some certain feeds from the industry through social media connect within VOC, where you can from time to time you can get those feed from what is happening within the industry. Then you can have your training feedback collection and analysis from your employees who are going through this training. Training dashboard, where everyone according to their access level as well as authorization levels, they can see what is going on. As maybe as a training coordinator, or as a facility manager, you can see all the employee training has been done, or people who are coming in different shifts, they have been given the training or not. Okay, so and then some of the good things like, reward employees for safe behavior. If somebody has come up with saying that this particular thing is not there, it should have been there, or something, alert coming from employees, so you can reward them. And even those small things also can go to the process and you can manage them. And also, as a workplace safety, I mean, the traditional workplace safety measures in your onboarding process might change to include this kind of training as well, so that you can do within the system. Last but not the least, how to recover. So making safety culture a priority, employee can report hazards right away. So this is one of the enabling thing, I think, when you are going to the employees and they can, raise the alerts or alarms at different points of time. So you can do your corrective and preventive actions on that. Training effectiveness analysis with the incident management. If someone is, seems like having influenza-like symptoms, so how people are reacting to that, what are the things needs to be immediately, who will be the first person whom you have to report to, and what are the precautions you have to measure. So those things you can understand from your training effectiveness, whether people know all these things or not. And notification on instance of violation of workplace safety. Let's say, something has not been carried out properly, so what are the risks measured on that, so you can definitely notify on that. You can also put even frequently asked questions from the employees at one place, so that people can definitely come back to it, and instead of going to the facility managers or facility supervisor here and there, they can refer it there. Having said that, the next one which I can quickly go through is zero contact delivery management, which is definitely a need of the hour today, and already many vendors, they are doing it. E-commerce places, they are all about it right now. So as a matter of fact, within the campus, if it's a big campus or if it's a big office, you have to have different receiving points of these now, because you need the screening and sanitization after that also, and pick up by the employee at what time they can really pick it up, and what are the procedures they have to follow. So I think to start with, we have to have certain SOPs on that, and even you can put all those SOPs within here. Data entry of delivery details. So it is also required to have those contact tracing available to the government authorities as well as internally also, who has come, what delivery has come, from where it has come, and what are the screening which has been done over the delivery, and sanitization has been done or not. So those kind of alerts notification needs to be there. So one is receiving at points. There are certain checklists you can have. It is it can be built there, and then screening of personnel. One screening is there for employees, definitely, that is there, who are coming inside the office, but definitely as a visitor also who is coming there to deliver something, we have to do that. So again, alerts and notification post all these checks needs to be there, so that end to end your process is working fine. And then the pickup. Now pickup is I mean, earlier it was just like within a phone call, and you can just talk to the employee and come and pick it up from there or something like that. But now it is a bit different, and we need to understand that not many people can come to a point at any point of time, so the social distancing measures have to be involved here. So you can even have a pickup schedule, let's say, depending on what kind of shifts people are in, or you can give them token so you can pick it up, or maybe perishable and non-perishable goods, how to pick it up, and what all things. So you can keep all these things within VOC, and very small, very thin applications modules which can be built there, and people can use it from the ground level very quickly. So saying that, I think
any questions? I think Mo has covered a lot of stuff in a very short time. So if there are any questions, please.
I can see two questions over here.
Yeah.
One is from Mahinder Chauhan. He's asking how to manage the housekeeping and security at this stage. So quite general.
Okay. Housekeeping at the office or in home? I mean, both are. That's why I said double it. Yes.
Yeah. The office has shifted to the home, but I suppose he's asking about the facilities, about the office only, since people have started moving to the office. So,
yeah. So Moha, you can handle that.
Yeah. And after that, let me just give the second question also.
Okay.
That's come from Sanjay Mathur. He's got two parts. First, he says, do we have to pay wages to the housekeeping and security as per contractual deployment, or only as per actual usage? And this is more of a legal question.
Yeah. Okay. I'll answer that question. I mean, I'll answer that question first, because I can give you. I think you will have to start looking at renegotiating contracts, right? Because if you look at a service provider, and what he's going to do, is he going to incur more expense in getting his person to office, right? That is also going to be a cost. So I think that you need to renegotiate these. But firstly, I think one has to make an SOP of your own. What is your SOP for housekeeping, and how often do you want, say the kitchen to be cleaned? I mean, now you have a lavatory. I mean, what is your SOP for that? So I think you'll have to get into micro details and begin to understand various aspects, and then go back to your vendors and start renegotiating. But yes, like I said, I made it a point that why are we looking at housekeeping stuff? Let's look at employees. As an employee, you now expect me to work from home. Does the Workmen's Compensation Act, if it applies to me, extend now to home? So I think these are legal questions also. I don't think we have all the answers. But yes, you'll have to renegotiate many of these things.
Perfect, sir. Thanks. There's a second question from Sanjay Mathur again. He's saying, is a disinfectant tunnel or chamber safe for deployment? Now, there's one question which is going around the industry. Time and again, this question is coming.
Say it again, disinfectant, please, again.
Tunnel or chamber. Now, this is more from, pest control safety.
I think
it is still a debatable issue. I don't think so we have a ready answer there. And many places it was installed and then it has been taken, off.
So,
I think.
The way I would look at it is this way, that if you are going to spray somebody in a tunnel or a chamber, what is the suggested time that is recommended by the person, by the owner of the spray? What is the intensity? What's the amount of liquid that has to be sprayed onto a person in how much time? So if it's like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, then that has to be insured. And if that can be insured in a chamber or a tunnel, I don't think it's an issue. Because even in the tunnel, you still have to have social distancing, right? So you may have 10 people standing together and then you tunnel it. But basically that's a question that the manufacturer of Dettol or Lysol or whichever one it is, they will have to figure out. And it's not something that, of course, we can design a plan that we can design a thing that if it is supposed to take 30 seconds and somebody else comes in within the first 20 seconds, or the guard just doing a quicker job, people get out before they come in, you can get an alert on how many people are coming. So those are sort of control measures you need to put in. But to answer a question specifically, I think it really depends on the number of time. Some disinfect. I mean, it's like putting cream on your hands. Some creams sort of go into your skin quicker, and some don't. So what is the optimum time that is suggested by the manufacturer for a complete disinfecting process to take place? That would determine this question.
Thank you, sir.
I think I will just take the other one which was talking about. I think housekeeping staff and security. I think at current stage, even if some of these sources are coming from agencies and third-party vendors and all, but I think at the owners of training them and managing them on the job, it's all about the organization who is deploying them. So it's very important that they go through this whole rigor also.
I'll give you an example. So I mean, we order from one particular very big pizza company, right? And we use a person in the middle. I won't name names. So right opposite my house, there was I was taking a walk to out in the lane. I mean, we're not very crowded, and I saw this one scooter with 3 people going, and they were all wearing the uniforms of the delivery company. So I stopped them. I said, "Are you going to work or are you coming from work?" And they said, "We are going to work." I said, "Please go ahead." So my question is that you as a person sitting at the delivery end will have to take into the entire supply chain if you really want your customers and your employees to be safe. I mean, I think that we have to relook our SOPs, find the break point at each and every point what can happen. And we'll have to go into customer housekeeping. The housekeeping person is assuring you, "I have done the test." Do you believe it? You probably have to do it yourself because it's your employees who are at stake, it's not his. And we all know, I mean, this is not a matter of suing somebody and getting some compensation out of him. So that's my answer to you, that we will have to look. That's why when I first said that the workload will double and you are our warriors, I mean, you'll have to be You'll have to be infantrymen, you'll have to be tank people, you'll have to be RT, you'll have to be everything. And you don't trust anybody. Yes, please go ahead, Mano.
Great, sir. Thank you so much for this. We have Dr. Kirti Vardhan Sharma. He's, in fact, added on something from what you mentioned about the wages question which had come up. He's saying Supreme Court has adjourned the wages matter for a week today. Wages after 18th May are not required to be paid. Wages from lockdown till 17th May is pending before Supreme Court as of now. So just information that he's trying to share. Questions which come up till now.
Yeah, that's it. I think this is not really a question. I mean, this is a good question. I mean, it's a very valid question, because if the company or the organization has no income, then I mean, there is pain to the company, and how I mean, there has to be a long-term view even for employees as well as employers on all of these. And I don't think there's one answer that fits everybody. That's my, I mean, I'm not talking from a VOC hat, but that's my call. I mean, like we were talking, like I said, we were talking to Boeing people in the morning, and they say that, you know, what we are trying to do now is change our, I mean, the way that the air circulation happens, they're saying, can we sort of put in some sort of disinfectant in that, in the air circulator, so that eventually people don't have to wear masks. So I think new things will come up, and they are using their staff to do that. So it's not as if they are repairing airplanes anymore because there are no airplanes flying, but it's a question that each one of us will have to answer individually.
Great, sir, great.
Yeah, Mahua, can you go on, please?
Yeah, I think I'm done with that. After that, Sirish will take all of us over the product brief of VOC. Sirish, are you there?
No, yes, I'm there.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so so I just want to give you some brief about our product, and then after that I will directly switch on to the demo, a live demo where I can
let
show
me introduce Sirish. Sirish is an engineer, and he has about 15 years of experience. And before joining us, he worked for Capgemini, and I think he made more trips to Paris than most of us. And he comes from that background. And lately, he's been working in Uganda, and he's the one person actually again who's been going there. We have an installation in Entebbe at the airport, and he was also our person who set up the whole emergency system for Azul, which is the JetBlue of South America. It's based in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. So I'm just giving you an introduction to him. And Srish, please go on, please. Hello, Srish. I think he's dropped out.
No, so actually I got muted. Okay, yeah. So so just give you a quick overview of the product that is there, and then after that I will directly move to the live demo where I can show you how actually the plans and all the other things works actually in our product. So the general specification of our project is like it is very easy to use. It is very scalable. Anyone from any background will be able to create forms, create processes, and anything they need or they want. They can make it public as well, so that anybody from the outside the organization will also be having access to it. It's so, and the good part about using it is the same thing is available on web as well as in the mobile. So they have just install that app from the Android as well as the Apple Store, and then they can use it. So you don't need any training or anything for this. So we have some of the clients that are totally on the mobile, so they don't need to you don't need to have any very big infrastructure or anything like that. So that's it from here. Mohammed, can you move to the next one? Yeah. So technical specification is its architecture as the 100% browser based. So you don't need to install anything. So it's just the internet that you need, and you can just log in from your credentials. It's also using 256-bit AES encryption. So your data is very much secured, and you don't need to worry about the privacy of the data. All the files that are uploaded are actually scanned for the viruses and all. And also the VOC runs on many servers, so there are very less chances that your you can lose the data. It's available in multi servers.
So we signed contracts which actually give you 99 and 4 nines uptime. So, and data is encrypted at source, data is encrypted while it is in motion. So I think all those things have been taken care of. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can move to the next one. So user license for VOC, I think there are three type of user licenses in VOC. One is the admin user. So admin users is the one who will be who will have all the accesses, who will be able to add different members, who will be able to create forms, who will be able to make processes, who will be able to make different plans. I will just come over to all of these in a short while. But I think admin is someone who will be able to do anything that they want in the VOC. The general users are someone who are actually a member. They can't create something, but yeah, they will have the access to the information. They will be able to fill the information in a form. They will be able to fill the processes, and they will be able to see their data by logging into the VOC. And the notification users are the ones, they don't need any login or anything. It's just the users, like suppose in an emergency or any critical situations, you need to inform the people about certain things. Like suppose there's an emergency and you want to inform the nearby police station or to the medical staff about particular things. They definitely don't need to install the VOC or they need to do anything like that. You just have put their phone numbers into our system, and automatically they will get notification when the time is needed. Okay, can we yeah. Technical support. So technical support is that all the customers that are there, which is like a huge list. It's including a 24/7 telephone support and email support. So we have our clients based out in New Zealand, in Australia, in Africa, everywhere. So you can't say like it's for a particular time zone or something. So we are available 24/7 for anybody who needs help. And also we respond to the non-critical things within like 2 business days, but definitely it's not like it doesn't take that much. We try to do the resolution as soon as possible. Also, if there is a cycle for our VOC that it's update in every 15 days. So basically whatever the new enhancement or new things that you want to include in, you can just let us know, and then after that we will try to work with our developers to get that thing done as soon as possible in the next cycle. Also, we have a huge knowledge base where you can take some knowledge. Training and onboarding, I think the training stuff is also like we used to have regular bootcamp sessions where we used to train the people regularly about the new things and new features that we have added in. So suppose if somebody onboarded us as their new client, and then after like if after like 6 months there is new feature or something that comes up new, then definitely we provide that information to that client as well, so that he can use that feature in his system or in his solution. Okay. VOC product management. So this is more like a diagram. What are the things that we do? One is the technical innovation, where we definitely work in getting new innovation or something that makes the app more user friendly as well as more innovative, based on the performance as well as the supportability.
Yeah. So let me just sort of come in here. I mean, we have an agile cycle. That means the whole product goes through a revamp every 14 days. So, and we listen to our customer, and our customers are, like I said, our smallest customer is in New Zealand with 6 users, and our largest customer may be United Airlines with 5,000 users. So very different sort of spectrum of customers which have very different needs. But we have only the single instance of VOC that we have caters to every one of them. And we listen to our customer very carefully. I'll give you an example. For example, we have a customer in Canada, and it's almost in the Arctic Circle, and it's an airport, and they don't have internet 24/7. So how do you inspect the airport without an internet connection? So for that, we created an entirely offline map, offline instance for them, so that everything would be on the smartphone or the iPad or whatever it is. And then once he got into a zone which had the internet, it would get uploaded. So that came from a customer in need. Of course, we review these needs and figure out which are genuinely customer needs, which enhance the whole community. And that's our process. So if something comes up from your side that this is something that we need, and we definitely will be able to look at those things. Next slide, please. Yeah,
Okay,
Srish,
so
over to you.
okay, so these are the building blocks that we use normally for creating various solutions. I will just give you a brief of all of them. So first one is the communication tools. So over here, you will be able to talk to the people in your organization. You will be able to send your photos, send the videos across the systems, as well as you will be able to create different threads for a particular topic. And also you will be able to send the mass notifications in case of emergency. Like suppose if there's an emergency, you can create a notification call to all people, and certainly all the phone calls, SMS and emails will go to all the people that you have registered in, and they will be aware that there's an emergency or something like that. The next one is the task. So task is something that you can assign the work to different people. Here you will be able to put their names, put a task, put a person name and put in a time, so that you can track in like whatever the task that you have given to certain person, and will be able to track if he has completed it or not. For workflows is more like processes. We can create different type of processes like a reimbursement process or leave process through the VOC. It's very easy to create in, so you just have to think of the process in your mind, and you will be able to create it through a drag and drop in our system. Okay, so the next is forms databases. So form is very simple thing, like whenever we go across anywhere, we need to fill the forms. So these forms, when you actually fill it, it creates databases. So these forms are very much customizable in VOC. You will be able to change the fields. You will be able to see the data as well like you want, as well as you can create multiple customizations across it. Through the mobile, as I told earlier as well. So it's like that all the things that are available into the web, you will be able to access it through the app. So through the app, the good thing about is like whenever you are at your home or somewhere outside, you will be also be able to get the updates to the push notifications and everything. So it will be easy for you to access it. And like suppose in case of any emergency or something, you will be also be able to launch an emergency plan whenever you are outside the office. So you don't need to be in an office because of that. So workflow I have already cleared in. Then in the plans. So plans is something, it's more like the combination of the forms, tasks, workflows and everything. So plans helps in, like suppose in case of emergency, you need something that is very quick. You don't need like, you have like 20 or 25 things that you need to do. You can't keep track of it. So in plans, you can make a digital thing across the VOC, and whenever an emergency happens, you just have to click and all the things will automatically be triggered, whether it's a notification, whether it's a task, whether it's different workflows that needs to be triggered, all of them will be put in our plans. So I will show you in a short while like how actually it looks like and how actually it works in. There is the dashboard. A dashboard is more like the pictorial representation of whatever the information that you have filled in the forms and workflows and tasks. So it will give
Next
the
slide, please, Mohan.
management a bird eye, like what are the things that are there and how's the performance is going on. Like suppose if it's a sales cycle, like in January, in February, you can just track in like if the sales have increased or decreased or whatever. And the last one is the maps. So through maps, you will be able to track in like whatever the things, like suppose if there's an hotspot area, you will be able to see in our Google integrated map, and also you will be able to see where your current location is. So it will help you in understanding like how much in distance you are from actually a hotspot area or from a containment zone. So I will also show this thing in a live demo. I think I will quickly switch over to the demo now.
Yeah, just the GIS. Can you show the map again, please? Yeah, Srish.
Right.
Yeah, just a second here. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So this is something map that I was giving an example. It's more like a hotspot areas. As you can see, all on the red, all are the hotspot areas. So this we have produced on a Google map. It also will help you in understanding like where actually you are located and where actually the hotspot is or containment zone is located. So basically, by using this map, you will be able to track all the hotspot areas, and you will be able to take the actions accordingly. Like suppose if you even open your workplace, you will be able to know whether the employee, your employee, is in a hotspot area or like he's outside that. Okay, I think I can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
move
Go
to the
ahead.
live
Just
demo now.
go to the demo.
Yes, sure.
Deduping on the accounts, and then I think that's dedupe if there is an overlap in terms of the contact. Now that was what these
So
guys
this is more like a login screen for the VOC.
and they have generated some stuff out of that. And in some cases, I guess Bishop had an issue with Discover not giving access to UK-based information.
So this is a home screen for VOC. Here you can see multiple tabs to make sure all the informations are available. So VOC works on the 3 levels in terms of the privacy. One is the org level, one is the group level, and one is the room level. So org level is something where the head of the organizations will have the access. Then is the group level where more like the different departments head will have the access. And then finally is the room level where actually the data puts in. So most of the guys who are actually pulling the data, they have the room access actually. So, okay. So now if I can show you how actually the plans look like, as I told you earlier. Okay, so this is a emergency event plan that we have created. I can just give you a brief about what actually the plan is. So if I click on edit, you will see multiple things over here. So the first one is you can see these check signs. So these check signs are nothing but like the task. So if I click off any of one of them, as you can see, this is a task where I have put in the name of the people whom this is assigned to and a due date. So you can just create random task over here. So it's more like an SOPs that you have in emergency plan. You can create a multiple task over here, and whenever an emergency happens, you just have to launch the plan so that automatically this task actually fires in. So as you can see, there are multiple tasks that we have created for different people so that it is easy for them to be tracked, and this will be automatically being triggered. The second one, which I want to show you, is the call down. So call down is something where you will be able to send the notifications to all the people during an emergency. Like suppose an emergency happens, you want to inform all of your employees, like if it is in 1,000, 2,000, whatever. So you want to inform all the people about a particular emergency, and also you want to ensure that they reply back whether they are available to handle a particular emergency. So this call down helps over here. So over here, if you can see, there are some people that have already selected. These are the guys who will be getting a notification when I launch the plan. And there are different modes by which they can receive the notification. It can be either phone plus email, it can be text message and email, it can be phone plus text message and email, and then email only. So at present, I have selected the phone.
The idea has been that our experience has been with companies where they have lost communications and they have the external. We are also conscious of the fact that many times communications are on voice over IP and they are linked to centralized single sign-ons and all of that. So if that gets disabled, how do you manage? Like you have Cyclone Amphan, and you have a data center that's completely sort of lost power and you cannot restore power or communications are gone. And that is your core LDAP, which is not yet sort of replicated onto the cloud. So what happens then? So I think, so we built in an entire communication suite within the thing so that if you have an emergency command center, if you are running a COVID emergency command center, then everything that you need is there. And similarly, when you're looking at the senior admin, and he's probably will have 5 different centers. I mean, COVID will just be one of the places where he's participating in. I mean, he's got to participate in employee rostering. He's got to employ any other things. So he'll be a member of many things. And then at the top level, there'll be 4 or 5 people who are controlling everything. And that's the top center. And all these works cascade down to various people. And at a single launch, everything goes down. Yes, Rish.
Okay, so so as you can see, there are multiple things in a toolbox over here, and you can click any one of them just to drag and drop, and then you can just add that item in a plan. So I can just show you how quickly, like how actually we launch a plan. So suppose if I click on the launch plan, you can see that plan is already being launched by Costco. I think this day. I can just put the main room name, and then you can also select like launch plan in drill mode in case you are just testing it, so that the notification don't go away like that, and it will not scare the people actually whom you are sending notifications. So at present, I am not selecting anything, and then I just click on launch over here. So once I launch it, all the tasks, all the calls, and everything will launch automatically.
There is nothing which is specific to Ireland here in this list.
So,
So you see,
this is
yeah, go ahead.
notification that I am getting. I am not sure if you are able to hear.
So the list that you were showing just now,
Yeah.
yeah, the other list that is the.
So it will send a it actually sent me a notification, and I just replied to it as a response that I am available for a particular emergency. So it also opened a room over here where you can see all the messages that has been already put in, where fire officers are stationed, a fire escape plan over here. In Hindi, I'm also putting the information in, and all those things you can see over here. And also you can see what who are the people who are presently in the room. As you can see, my name and the Anurag's name, and Kaustav and Swaraj are actually not present in the room. And as you can see, just Anurag sent a message. It will be put in over here. So I can even tag people over here, like Anurag. Please help with the evacuation.
For this, you've been able
Okay,
to
so once I put it, so Anurag will get a message directly onto his email as well as on his phone as a push notification that he has he has to help me in the evacuation, and he will reply it accordingly. And also you can see there are multiple threads in different colors, which will help you in understanding like what is the discussion topic that is going on presently, and based on that you can just select in. So it will also help you with the search thing. Okay, so moving ahead, I can just show you also the map over here. So as I told you earlier, it's like a Google map, and we have created an overlay type of thing over it, so that it is easy for us to locate the hospitals or to the nearby shelter areas in a particular location. So as you can see, there are different color icons over here. So if you click the safe area or a hospital where it is, what is the medical center name, and where what is the location around. Similarly, you can see the safe areas over here, or schools over here. You just have to click and you can see the information. So it will also help the people like where actually they are presently in, and where actually these hospitals and the shelter areas are located. Also for a real, yeah, yes sir, go
Just a
ahead.
minute. So the question is that these are overlays that you can create. Like it's not as if there will be something which are static, like hospitals are already there, fire stations are there. I mean, police stations are there. But you can create your own overlays within this thing. You can put in that this is my facility here, and the safe location for this is here, and this is the route that you will follow. So I think all those things will be, this all you can put it in. And Srish, would you go to the map mode, please? It's a better way to show it. The map on the right. Yeah, thank you.
that are there, the number
Because the satellite mode is slightly confusing.
for the specific countries, so that I can
Okay.
reach out to
Let
these
me-
guys while I
yeah,
set up the implement for you. I can
Yeah,
also bring this up as an issue, which these guys can address while
So I
they're
think,
dealing.
yeah. So there you are. So you can put a map view, and there's one map where we marked all the hotspots, all the containment zones for Delhi, and we have them all here. So I mean, if that was yeah.
You get your entire 107, that 210, and if the rest of the business is fine with it, so be it. It's fabulous. But
Yeah. So this is basically our hotspot zone for Delhi. And as they keep changing, I mean, you can change it. And if you click on the top, you'll get to know when it was created, what is the information that you want to put in. you can easily put it in.
So,
Okay.
so as you, yeah, so as you can see over here, there are multiple red things over here. You just have to scroll over here, and you can see where actually the hotspot is located and what is the address. So it will also help you giving the directions where you are.
And you can zoom into it and you can zoom out of it. It's just like a Google map.
And how can we address that?
Okay.
Have you been able to pull out
So that's where we go.
from Discover or
And
if you
so just as I mean,
let me go ahead also.
Sirish, for the next 3 minutes, we got to do the Q&A in exactly 3 minutes. So please,
Okay.
would you, I mean, if there are forms or
Yes,
something like
yes, sir. I just want to show it the forms actually. So basically, we have a client. We call its name is Ralston. So it's more like a tire manufacturing company for the cycle and auto. So they normally handle their entire to a sales tool management and the payment and the reimbursement process through our system. So we have developed something for them by which they will be able to, the employees will be able to do their assessment, whether like their self-assessment type of thing, where they will be able to put in where actually they are located, if they are having any symptoms or something, are they quarantined or not, or if the office is under the COVID zone, all those type of things we are collecting the information so that the organization will have a view actually like how many people are actually in a containment zone and how many people are actually ready to join us back. Also, the similar thing we have created for the dealers. So dealers are the ones from which actually these people actually deals with, where they will collect their orders or payments on. So we are also getting the information from their clients actually, like if they are opening their shops or what are the type, like how they are dealing with it, where they are actually located in, where actually their home falls, and all those type of information. So these information, yes, sir.
And I would also like to emphasize that these are not forms that are created by IT people. I mean, you can create these forms. I mean, you can change them. You have multiple fields over here, whether it's date fields or whether it is selection, I mean, single select or whatever you want. Most of this are completely user friendly and there's no dependency anywhere. And you, as Sirish is going to show you, he's just going to show you how you can create a simple form. Like,
so it will be just like a drag and drop. I put in a text over here. I just put a name. That's it. And suppose I want a single select. I just put in a name over here. Like suppose options, and then A, B. So this will actually help you in just creating. It's too easy to.
We can come to the dashboard.
Yes, sir. Yes. I just want to show a dashboard that we have done for the Ralston only for the COVID thing. Over here, as you can see, you can create the different charts over here.
Hang
and
on.
actually
Let people read it, please.
Sure, sir.
So you see, we have employee offices under, this is the office under containment zone, under red zone, orange, whatever it is. How many people are ready to work? I mean, I don't know. If people have parents at home, they may not be ready. How many people are ready to work from home? So, I mean, the entire survey is here. And we did an internal survey among our people and figure out how many people need enhancements of bandwidth, how many people need, I mean, I have a very critical, my lead for mobile dev is today sitting in Gorakhpur, and what if his Power Mac fails? I mean, his PowerBook fails. We're doing all these things, and these surveys we're running constantly. And this is for the dealer survey goes to about 6,000 people, and we do it every week to understand, like we also ask a sentiment, when do you think business is ready? Are you at 25, are your employees able to come? So all of this we can sort of very easily, I do understand it is done very much differently in, you have SurveyMonkey and others, but remember, it's all data in one place. Yeah. So I don't need to replicate, I need to export, and there are many clients who don't even give us access to their organizations. I mean, they do it themselves. So that's the great part about it. And Srish, are we done?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we sort of, I mean, my apologies again for getting absolutely knocked out on the mobile, but on the generator. But is there? I mean, we are open to question and answers, please.
Perfect.
I get your point.
You unmuted you.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I had two questions, sir. One, I just heard that you guys implemented GDPR, so I would want to understand what major challenges you received while implementing GDPR, especially cross-border with respect to Article 48 and 49 implementation with respect to MLAT. And second, you talked about privacy also somewhere down the line. So how do you see CIPP versus Personal Data Protection Bill, which is going to be somewhere down the line law in India? How do you compare that with Indian scenario?
So there are a couple of things here. I mean, we're dealing with three different things over here. One, we are dealing straight with GDPR. Then we are going into another variation, which is CIPP, and then we are going into the so-called law, which is going to come out in India. Right. So I think I will illustrate just one challenge that we had. So we have this company which actually manufactures confectionery.
Right.
And again, it's a global company. And so they wanted, so you have problems, you know, sometimes the wrapping is bad. You open a set of biscuits, the biscuits are soggy, and there's a customer who complains, and the customer is, say, sitting in Germany, right? So now to respond to him through our system, we need to ensure that his name, his private data, the name, his email address, his mobile number are possibly masked. So what we have to do then is we have to create a system which actually encrypts that data. Now, all our data is encrypted, but even to our system and to the rest of the company, that name is restricted except to the one person to whom he has sent the data. So I think it's an ongoing process. We are working on CIPP because we have California State University as a client, but that is my top level thing. I think it's a major concern. But as of now, we've sort of only worked on GDPR and we are compliant with that. So I think most other laws are going to be subset of that, but the California law is something else altogether. Mahua, would you want to add to that, please?
No, I think it's okay.
Does that answer your question a little bit? Hello? Yeah.
I suppose you answered some probably that's why he's away.
Okay.
Dr. Kirti, I thought you had two questions.
Yeah. 1 second. He is again gone on a mute, so I'm just putting him back on mute. 1 second. Kirtiji, you probably have a message. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. First question is answered very well. Thank you so much. But with respect to your CIPP, I just want you to understand, based on your experience, what do you think that like the future of this privacy bill, which is going to be in India, will be impacted from GDPR, or has it any impact from CIPP from US? Do you think that future of this particular implementation in India will this have any effect for the companies which are operating in the US, or so from US to India in terms of outsourcing?
You know, I'm looking at it from two different points of view. One is a practical point of view, which is basically, are we ensuring that large platforms like WhatsApp and Facebook are meeting these requirements? Like, we seem to be in two islands. On the one island, we are completely not private. And on the other island, we want to be clamping down as if there's an emergency and there's a war on our frontiers. So I think the government of India will have to have a balance between them. We cannot stop outsourcing. I think our concern is going to be what the US is going to do when it is going through recession, because they're going to be starting to write contracts which says that you cannot outsource. I consider that as a greater challenge than the privacy issue. I think the privacy issue is there. It's a long-term issue, but if you look at the next 6 months, I think each country will try to protect its own employees, and I consider that to be a bigger issue. I really don't have a straight answer to your privacy thing, but I think that the concern today may be different. So we do have a little bit of time, and as we go through this change, I'm sorry, I would like to call it a depression, but it's not a nice word to use. We are in something like that, and you know, this quarter is terrible, but I think our emergency situation is actually going to be whether, because of the large scale unemployment in the United States and in the continent, what laws do they have to bring which will just prevent some of this outsourcing to happen? I am not for a moment suggesting it will happen, but that's what I think is my concern today.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thanks for your guidance. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
There's another question I read over there, sir. Do you think people will look at options of tier 2 cities? Basically trying to convey that as we have more and more work from home, gradually will organizations also look at not only work from home, even moving more and more jobs to tier 2 cities and such like?
See,
So that's not related, but since they understand you can answer a variety of questions, this kind of questions.
Let me answer this question in a different way. So I would not like to, I mean, first of all, when a company says that it wants to go to a tier 2, tier 3 city, I think the question that you now need to ask is, what does the employee want to do? What is the employee's choice? I think today the employee has a choice. And it's not going to be, I mean, it's not going to be a company sort of saying, okay, today I want to go here. No, it's the employee saying that I want to go work from here. And can you enable me in that? And if you think that employee is smart enough and is valuable enough, then you will have to find your way to enable him. You're moving a center from Delhi to Gorakhpur or wherever it is. I mean, like I said, my lead mobile person is sitting in Gorakhpur, and his number 2 person is sitting in Patna with his father in ICU, fortunately not COVID. I can't ask them to come back, but I do have a release which is coming on Thursday. So my only question is, are they enabled? So they are enabled. They have a phone which has got a Wi-Fi connection. They have a Geo hotspot, and we are and if he's at home, we have said, okay, I'm willing to pay for that extra broadband connection if you can get it. So 3 levels. I'm also willing to buy him a new MacBook Pro just in case the first one goes down. So my question to you is, please don't look at it from a company point of view. Let's start asking the employees, because they are the ones today, in this day, it's the customer who needs to feel safe to use your products, and it's the employee who needs to feel safe, right? Eventually what's going to happen is, why do employees move to big cities? That's a fundamental question. I think they move because they can upskill themselves. They have more job opportunities. I mean, sitting in a small town, will a smart guy have the job opportunities which Delhi or the metros or Bangalore provide? I think that those are questions that today one needs to be asked. It's not a straightforward question of me moving a whole campus. No, it's going to be, if I get a great people in Imphal, let's move there. Let's set up a co-working space there, and let's put it up in Imphal. All I need to know is, have I got a great broadband connection? Have I got a VPN that goes there?
Perfect, sir. Perfect. I suppose in all this, in the last 2 months, we're talking about various warriors. One of the most important warriors which was getting missed out is the communication agencies.
True.
Thanks to Airtel's, Vodafone's, and Jio's of the world, we are connected. All that movement to the office has been stopped. But in spite of that, thanks to this communication, we are through. So, like you mentioning that if you can provide them the right kind of services wherever, whichever part of the country or part of the world they are in. You mentioned that, give the example of Alaska also. So in case we can provide that kind of services, so the problem of real estate is going to go away. Real estate will be made up more by communication and communication infrastructure. Wonderful, sir.
I think, Colonel Saab, I think the biggest thing is going to be employee productivity. I mean, the employee's assessment. See, all of us want to go ahead in life, right? I mean, we want to rise up the ladder. So the challenge that's going to come to us is this very smart employee whom we desperately want to retain, is he able to move up the ladder? What does he see? I think if we know in the IT world, we have what is known as the 10x programmer, which gives you 10 times the output of a normal guy. Okay, now those are gold. Those are like diamonds, and you need to keep them. So if the guy today comes and tells me that I want to sit on a beach in Goa and I want to spend 1 month there, and I'm saying, okay, let me see how I can get a broadband to you there. So I think that is the mindset that I think that we sort of need to move slightly forward from. That we will have, like when I said that we have twin challenges. One is we have to secure our workplaces that we currently work in, offices, factories, whatever that, and make them safe for thing. At the other time is we have to start looking at the employee. These batch of the top 10, 20% of, I mean, they say that, you know, the top 10 or 20% of companies actually is run by the top 20% actually run companies. So, I mean, those are the people you'll have to look after, and you'll have to give them everything you want. I mean, one of Google star, what do you call it, tech guys lives on a yacht, doesn't even come to land, lives on a yacht which is anchored outside somewhere So, so I think the flexibility of the workplace is going to depend mainly on the ability of your employees to work together as teams, whether remotely or whether in a place. Because at the end of the day, human contact is an essential part. Working in teams is absolutely vital. You learn from your friends. I mean, I think all of us, when we were in college, before the final exam, 10 of us used to get together and start learning together, because there were problems that you got stuck with, and you would spend 10 hours where somebody else said, "Hey, yaar, Bevkoof, ye 2 minute ka kaam hai." So I think those are things. To my mind, I think those are major issues. We as admin people will have to follow we'll have to enable these people no matter where they want to work. And now if they got used to working from home, I think it's a temporary phase, because working from office has got great advantages. I mean, but I'm saying that if somebody does want to go, like I live in Mehrauli, I have to go to Noida, do I want to go every day in Delhi traffic? Maybe not. So that's my answer.
Thank you, sir. I suppose no more questions also. So just come to the end, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Maninder and your team, Mahua and Sirish. You've been wonderful, sir. When I initially, when we were interacting with you, I went to your site also. I really find, the organization is so dynamic, so nimble-footed. Based on the dynamics of the market, you've been adapting yourself, sir. You've been, interacting the clientele that you have, right from, you mentioned from somebody just about 6 odd employees in New Zealand to more than 5,000 employees in another organization. That just explains how easily you adapt to the requirements of the market. It's wonderful, and the way you adapted to this new normal of COVID, how you brought up this thing. When I was interacting with Mr. Maninder, he gave me a wide choice. You saw that calendar from A to Z. He says, choose whatever you want out of it. And each one of them suited almost to our requirements. So finally, we landed at the last of the two. Training and the last part. So what I'm trying to convey is it's been beautiful. We've been able to really learn a lot, and like you mentioned that yes, the COVID warriors, these admin chaps have worked on it. They were on the front foot all these days. They ferried PCs and equipment to employees' homes. They've been doing that all through, and now some of them collecting them backwards and bringing it back to the office. That activity is on simultaneously. They were working in the office. And of course, what I appreciate in your applications is the way you've organized it, and it's so nimble-footed, so dynamic. Sitting here, folks, you want any support? Please go ahead. This complete presentation will be on our site. You want to seek their support for anything? Please go ahead. You saw how the whole thing, as far as these red zones and that complete zone is concerned. I just go to the Google Map. I look into their site. In the app, they'll show you precisely the complete information, which in fact Google is also not carrying. So that kind of information is available over there.
Yep.
And of course, I really appreciate the kind of services that, be it financial services, be it aviation, government, healthcare, higher education, all kind of utilities, the complete scope of activities in the market, you're covering them all across. I think we're very fortunate, Maninder sir, to be listening to you today.
Colonel Saab, you're too kind.
No, not really, sir. In fact, too less. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time off and giving us this wonderful presentation. I can hear somebody mentioning. I can few chats coming in, sir.
I can see that.
He's mentioning very well conducted, knowledgeable. Thank you. He says, iPhone. Somebody says many thanks for the informative session. Somebody, Prakar, she says wonderful session, very informative. Thanks. So there you are, sir.
Thank you very much.
We had reached a figure of 80 plus at one stage. People have other activities also. Some people requested that would be leaving. And my only request is, it should not finish at this. We will look forward towards more information from you.
Definitely, sir.
As we keep modifying into the next levels of COVID, I'm sure you'll also, you being so nimble-footed, you'll also keep modifying, and we'll keep coming back to you for getting some more information. And my team out here will be more than happy to get that much more information from you.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure, and thank you, GACS, for actually enabling us to be able to show some of our things. Thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
And keep well. Thank you.
Thanks to your complete team. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye-bye, Mahua. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye, sir.